Other news this evening, federal authorities got quite a surprise this morning when one of the FBI's most wanted fugitives walked into the courthouse here and surrendered. Robbery suspect Heather Tallchief disappeared from a casino on the Las Vegas Strip 12 years ago with $3 million in cash. Before surrendering, Tallchief told the Channel 8 Eyewitness News I-team about where she's been and what happened to the money. George Knapp is here. George, talk to her.
Gary, Heather Tallchief was calm, composed, and obviously relieved as she prepared to turn herself in this morning. She says she explained to her 10-year-old son that she was going to be away for a while. Her lawyers hope that federal authorities will go easy on her since Tallchief says she didn't get any of the stolen millions. Where have you been?
I've been in my home in Amsterdam.
Fugitive Heather Tallchief matter-of-factly described the aftermath of her 1993 armored car heist on the Las Vegas Strip. Tallchief was 21 years old at the time, employed as a driver for the Loomis Armored Car Company. She drove away from Circus Circus with an estimated $3 million in cash and vanished, along with her boyfriend and alleged partner Roberto Solis, a convicted murderer who was the mastermind of the Loomis robbery, according to Tallchief, and who had a Manson-like control over the young woman.
He was certainly someone I listened to and I obeyed and I respected, so if he said to do a certain activity or a certain thing, I followed through.
Tallchief and Solis used disguises and fake IDs to slip away from Las Vegas after the heist, traveling to Denver, then Miami, then parts unknown. Eventually, they landed in Amsterdam, where Tallchief gave birth to their son. But a few months after the baby arrived, Tallchief split.
She left him in virtually the middle of the night when the baby was 2 months old and hid from him for a while or until he either stopped looking or wasn't looking at all.
That was more than 10 years ago, and Tallchief says she hasn't seen Solis since. She says she didn't take any of the $3 million and has supported herself in Holland by working as a chambermaid. For someone who might be facing a long stretch in prison, Tallchief seemed at peace with her decision to surrender.
I feel like a winner. I feel like it's probably an unusual thing to say to someone turning themselves in to the federal government, but I feel excellent.
Tallchief's lawyers hope that her voluntary surrender and her allegations that she was brainwashed by Solis might convince federal prosecutors to take it easy on her. Her arrival at the courthouse Thursday morning certainly caught people off guard.
Well, they knew exactly who she was as soon as we told them, but they weren't expecting her.
Heather Tallchief made her initial court appearance this afternoon. She faces 10 federal charges, all of them related to the robbery and her attempts to elude the authorities. Roberto Solis remains at large with whatever is left of the $3 million.
We were just talking here about how did she get out of the country. Maybe the other question is, how did she get in to do this?
Yeah, I put that question to the lawyers this afternoon. They were kind of cagey in answering it, but obviously she came here on a plane and had to have some sort of a passport to get into the country. I just don't think they want to admit false use of a passport to add to her list of problems.
Right. All right. George, thank you.
Sure.
Channel 8 played a role in the investigation of that robbery back in 1993. An Eyewitness News viewer led police to a garage rented by the suspects. That's where they found that empty Loomis van, Tallchief's gun and belt, and a few dollar bills. The viewer had rented the garage to the male suspect in the case.
Last night watching Channel 8 News, they showed his picture on the TV, and I suddenly clicked in my head that it was a guy that they were looking for.
Till this man came forward, police had wondered if Tallchief had been kidnapped, but after talking with him, detectives decided that she indeed had participated in that robbery.